Oh my god, that was an incredible episode of Zestiria the X. Honest to God, Velvet Crowe is just such a badass, man. She is just such a beast. She just lives to devour demons. It's so sick. From the start of the episode, we see her just destroy two wolves without even having to try. Oh my god, watching her, like, evil, cursed hand devour them, bring them into the hand itself, that was so sick. And I have no idea what the plan is, like why she's there, why she's being fed, why she's being kept alive. Obviously, they don't want her out in the real world because they see demons as evil and they have no idea what the fuck she is. I mean, red-headed girl, Celeste, has been calling her a demon eater, but I have no idea what that is in comparison to everything else. I mean, when it lists her character bio, it calls her human, ? Demon, ? They're not sure. But Celeste seems to have some sort of idea about what's going on. Oh, man. Okay, so this episode was amazing. We got to see Velvet really showing off how much of a beast she is. Because, I mean, in all of the trailers we've seen of Velvet so far, she's just continuously been screaming, Artorius! And charging into the battle. Which is why I really liked in this one, when we had that moment where she suddenly realised, yeah, I could go following exactly the path you came in from, but that's exactly where they're going to be waiting for me. And she just hid and realised, fuck this, I'm going to do the smart thing. That moment of, like, Celeste asking her, oh, I thought your only move in battle was to charge forward. And she's just like, no, I think about things. I'm just going to find the easiest way to get to Artorius and tear him to shreds. Oh, man, Velvet is such a different kind of protagonist from the ones that I'm used to. I mean, my favourite Tales of games from the series are like Berseria, Symphonia, Abyss, Zestiria. All of those characters, they've been very gentle, the main protagonists. I mean, even Yuri in Berseria, even though he was a complete badass, he was still very gentle and didn't like to get into fights. Velvet has not got that problem. She wants to tear people to shreds. I mean, hell, she could have let Celeste take out all those Centurion level exorcists at the beginning, but no. She's like, fuck it. I'm taking them on myself. I just want to beat down some exorcists. It was so good, man. Oh. So there's some sort of weird connection going on with her and that life force of the planet thing. Because there was definitely that moment once she finished, like, devouring demons, where she was drawn down to the ground. And it seemed like all that she had just drawn out of the demons then flowed down into that life force thing that we saw in the first episode of Zestiria the X. So I really liked that. So yeah, honestly, episode was brilliant for giving me some Velvet Crowe love. She is definitely going to be best girl. I can't wait for Tales of Berseria to come out. Oh man, I can't believe it's coming out in a week and a half in Japan and I'm going to have to wait like 6 months for it. That's going to be painful. But it's nice to see this little introduction to her. And this basically was the equivalent of what they did for Tales of Zestiria with Dawn of the Shepherd. It's going to be this episode and next episode, which are just, rather than an actual prequel to the game, this seems to be the tutorial level for the game, because she's going through Titania, she's breaking out of the prison island that she's been locked in. And I'm sure that's exactly how the game's going to start, and that first ever battle, teaching you the battle system, is going to be that one against the Centurion exorcists. So this is really cool. They're showing us something that isn't going to spoil the game for us because it's just introducing the characters and getting you used to the world. But at the same time, it is definitely getting you used to Velvet Crowe as a character and it's making me learn how to pronounce her name. Because I was calling her Velvet Crowe for so long, but they're pronouncing it Cuchallain, which sounds more like darkness even though it's spelt like crow with an extra E. Oh man, I really love it. So, all of that made me supremely happy. I loved this episode, just watching it from beginning to end. I just kind of turned my brain off and went with it and just fanboyed. And was thinking to myself, I can't wait to be in control of Velvet, using that hand to devour demons. That is sick. But a lot of it got me thinking as well about the idea of Seraph not being quite here yet. We've got these things called Malek instead. And the Malek are pretty much like Seraph, but according to what Celeste said, it sounds like Artorius actually drew the Maleks into this world. He pulled them across dimensions with that ritual that he engaged in. By the way, if you guys do want to see some extra information on Velvet's backstory, if you watch the Tales of Berseria PV5, it's a long PV that shows what went on with her as a childhood, why she got the cursed arm, and her connection to Artorius and that initial sacrifice of the child. So I am going to be now spoiling a bit from that, so if you haven't watched it yet, you know, go watch it. Go watch PV5, it's amazing, it looks so cool. But yeah, I'm going to drop little bits that were dropped in that PV. Because in this episode, we actually got to see a nice little clip of that ritual, where Velvet sees her little brother getting devoured by the giant golden dragon thing. Man, that sucked. But that's suggesting now so much that her little brother really might have become the child in Berseria. I forget his name, I think it was Laphicet. But yeah, he looks so much like Velvet's little brother, and now that we know that he was used in the ritual and that ritual actually brought the Maliks into this world, you know, there's a strong suggestion that it could be her brother in some strange way. I don't know exactly how, but it's a cool idea. I mean, God, we got to see Artorius in little clips of this one as well. And right at the end, we got that moment, which is clearly going to be our first boss battle. Because we saw little Oscar Dragonia coming over in the ship. The Praetor level exorcist. So he's going to be super strong, but probably totally manageable in that you're going to have a party of 3 going against him. You're going to have you and Rakugo and Celeste all going against him. Oh, man. I am so looking forward to it. Seriously, this has just hyped me up for the game so much. This is why I'm saying that this episode was brilliant. Because it got me really hyped, it got me really interested in everything. And so yeah, I'm loving this. I want to play the game now. It has succeeded in exactly what it's supposed to be doing. I mean, the game's coming out in a week and a half. They're giving us these 2 prequel episodes, basically as an OVA in the middle of the cross to let us know this is what the game's going to be about. Get hyped, pre-order it, play it. It's going to be amazing. So in that way, I really liked this episode, but there were a couple of drawbacks too. I mean, the problem is, this is Tales of Zestiria the Cross, and it's already had so many problems. Like, it feels like they're doing things a bit weird with the cross, where they had, like, the prequel episode that wasn't really as a prequel, like it was built into the season, episode 0, which a lot of people still count as episode 1. I mean, even on my listings as the episodes, I count it as episode 1, just because it makes people easier to find the newer reviews. But it was just weird how they did that. They didn't really give much explanation into the world of Zestiria, and even to the point where we are in the cross. Up to episode 5, they haven't really explained everything when it comes to the Seraph and the Shepherd, and I mean, they just mentioned Heldalf. They just mentioned the Lord of Calamity, and how he's this big evil spirit that's going to cause mad calamity just by being around him, and all of that craziness that Saray is going to have to deal with. And then in this episode, they've dropped back to Berseria, and it's just really setting them up for failure as an anime series, because they still haven't explained enough, and they're going into prequels, and it doesn't quite work. It may work in the long run. I'm sure once people like see how good it is as a whole, it will be thoroughly enjoyed. But as it is now, like, I can see why a lot of people didn't hype this one up as much as they did at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, everybody was interested in it. Everybody loved the animation. But, you know, they've never really fully gone into an explanation. Kind of like what they did with God Eater, where they expected you to have played the game and kind of understand what's going on. And the one big thing that I had with this episode, which kind of annoyed me. I mean, I've been wanting them to play White Light for so long, but I've been wanting them to work it into the anime somehow. Whereas in this episode, they played White Light, and they played the whole opening from the Tales of Zestiria game. If they'd done that like back when Saray and Mikleo were on the mountaintop, that would have been the perfect time for it. Dragon goes swooping by on their head, it would have been the exact same place they played it in the game. Playing it in this episode after showing us so much of Velvet's story, it just feels like they were stalling for time, and it's giving away things that they shouldn't be giving away in this bit of Zestiria the Cross's anime. I mean, they've just talked about the Lord of Calamity, but now anyone who's watched this episode, like, it should be quite easy for people to draw the conclusion that that giant lion-faced motherfucker is going to be the Lord of Calamity. So if they were trying to make the Lord of Calamity this secret bad guy and get you hyped up for what kind of evil incarnation he's going to look like. Them then throwing in that white light opening, even though it's base, even though it's amazing, it's like the best opening of any Tales of game yet, though we haven't quite seen Berseria's one yet. But it's just the fact that they've now shown that. They've shown the Lord of Calamity, even though they were trying to act like he was going to be a big surprise. And a lot of people were wondering if perhaps Velvet was going to take his place in this, and that's how they were going to do the crossover. So I don't know, it just feels like they're making a lot of poor decisions when it comes to this anime. It feels like Tales of Berseria should have had its own OVA thing, and Tales of Zestiria should have gotten its own proper season, and then they should have crossed over like between the two halves of the season. Right now it just feels a bit disjointed. It doesn't feel like this anime is making much sense of a cohesive storyline for itself. But you know, maybe that's just me. I'm sure some people are really liking the way they're doing things. I just want to know, if you are anime only, if you never played Tales of Zestiria the game, and could you leave a comment down below and let me know if you think everything is making sense or if it's just a complete and utter mess to you. And I mean, there are a lot of people that haven't seen the Berseria PVs as well, where the Berseria things are just being hinted at again, and you're not really getting enough information to really draw conclusions from. So it seems like they're going to do that again with Berseria. They're just going to hint at things, they're never going to go fully into it, and they just expect you to play the game like a big marketing ploy. So yeah, that's what I want to know. Let me know in the comments section if you're enjoying Zestiria still so far, if it's let you down, if you are anime only, or if you've played the games. Let me know what you thought of it. For me, this episode, as a single episode, was absolutely amazing. It was fantastic. The action was on point. I love all the new characters, and I love some of the things that they're hinting at. But from the anime's standpoint, like, it feels a bit silly to be doing this. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I mean, at the same time, at least the music was incredible as well. We got to hear that Berseria main theme. Oh, it sounds so good. And I mean, I stole it for this video because it just sounds so good. I love that theme so much. So yeah. I mean, as for the new characters, they seem really cool. We've got Velvet, Crowe, who I knew was going to be a boss. She's going to destroy shit. She's so angry. She's so powerful. We got to know so much of her character in this one. We got to see that she's smart when she needs to be, but really she's only living right now to get revenge on Artorius. Loved that moment when she jumped off the castle and tried to catch herself as she was going down the cliff. Properly, like, knocked her shoulder, like her arm out of her shoulder. She dislocated it. And she just calmly relocates it, even though it clearly hurts her like shit. Man, that's all crazy. And they were mentioning that whole thing about a covenant, where you give up a part of yourself to make yourself stronger, which is basically what she's done. She's given up her humanity and what she actually wants to do in life just to get revenge on Artorius. That's the only reason she's living. And Velvet even mentioned herself, it's more like a curse than anything else. Then we had Celeste, who is feeling very smart, very intelligent. We know she used to work with Artorius, but she's switched sides for some reason. I kind of have heard hints of that reason, but I'm not going to go into that in this. I'm going to go into that in the live event that I'm going to be setting out after this. But yeah, she's cool. She kind of feels a bit like Lila. She got the fire magic going, but she's also got a lot of more interesting magic as well. Like, she can use telekinesis kind of stuff and unlock jail cells with magic. So, you know, Maleks are a bit more powerful than Seraph were. It's very, very cool. And then we've also got our samurai dude, who is a daemon. You know, he's starting to be corrupted by the evil forces. He's got that one demon eye, possibly a demon arm as well. And from what I know, that curse slowly spreads and takes over your body and turns you into like a full Hellion Kyoma looking monster thing. So yeah, dude is cool, named Rokuro. He has that giant, massive samurai sword, which he still hasn't used yet. In the next episode, hopefully we'll get to see him use it against Oscar, and it will be an incredible battle. But yeah, I like him. He's very jokey. I like the combination that him and Velvet have got going, where she is very seductive with him, but she doesn't actually clearly want to do anything with him. She's not actually that interested. She's just very seductive as a character in general, and he, you know, he wants to hit that, but that just ain't gonna happen. But he's very jokey, and a bit like Zavid, but with less mouth. So yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking this anime a lot. I'm liking the characters so much. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this review, wreck that like button like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more. And I will see you guys next time.